Status for Kira?
I think we're good to go. She hasn't done a warm-up yet, but she's not feeling a lot better. But like I told you this morning, she wants to play, and I think she's good enough to go, and we'll see. See how that wind is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If she's good to go, is that kind of a, you know, be careful of her, watch her minutes, be careful.
Don't I always, Kareem?
Yes, yes, you do. Just a couple keys that you want to make sure you take care of against LA today.
Well, I'd like to turn it over less. That'd be a good start from the other night. I think we'll see kind of stylistic. See, I'm trying not to sneeze. I think we'll see a similar kind of stylistic approach from LA that we did from Seattle. You know, they have very mobile bigs the same way that Seattle does, and we've watched the situations now. We've kind of practiced those type of things, and I want to see a response. I want to see us handle the ball better, keep our dribble better, read coverage better. It's an obvious area we need to improve, and then we got to keep the ball out of the paint. And guards and bigs both will put it on the floor for them, so we got to really contain the ball early.
And just quick one on Alana. You know, how much does these nights mean to you guys? Because you know the way you guys run this organization, and you know there's a family feel to it, right? And so I'm just curious, what do nights like this, where you get to honor somebody from the past, mean to you and everybody else?
I told the players yesterday, I think it's one of my personally favorite nights of the year, and I think it's one of the most important ones we do. The players, first of all, it's an opportunity for the fans to reconnect with that player, and I think it means a lot to them. It means a lot to, I hope, to our current players, that these are the players who we have built this league and this organization on. Appropriate that it's LA we're playing against tonight with AB. I think some of our players are old enough to have watched her when she was in her Mystics days. I think a lot of them saw her in her LA days. But it's great. Coach T kind of was the driver behind getting this Hall of Fame going. It had felt a little overdue that we needed to connect with the players that were the start of the journey of this franchise. And last year was a very emotional one for different reasons. I think tonight will be a great celebration of AB and what she did here and what she meant to this team. And I think it's cool every year that our players get to see it and see what it can mean to play here and have an impact on this city and this team.
Thank you.
Picking up on Alana, when the news first came out that she was inducted, you talked about going up against her and how hard it was to go against her. What was most challenging?
Getting the ball across half court. No, I'm serious. Like you had to. I was just telling Christy Winter Scott, like, how many players in the league do you really have to game plan for their defense? And usually it's some shot blockers or maybe a big that hedges, or you had to rethink your entire approach to getting into your offense when you played against. If you were lucky, they put her on a wing. She guarded a wing, and so you could actually get the ball up the floor. Those are games. You had to have your big break, bring it up. You'd have to have 2 or 3 guard outlets, and hope that she didn't run over and take the one who was initiating. Hope they didn't change her matchup out of a timeout. It was just destructive in a way that very rarely had to account for. It just total dedication to getting her body healthy, and then not just healthy, but in the type of condition to play that way. Those are very, very few and far between.
Any specific games come to mind? I know I'm quizzing you now, but either when she was in DC or when she was in LA.
I remember way back. We played. I think her rookie year when we were in Connecticut. I think we played her in the playoff series, and they won Game 1 in DC. We were able to turn the series around, but she had just totally revitalized that team. She came in as a rookie and was pretty sensational right away. I'm trying to think. Those LA games are just one big blur of her picking people at half court. I just remember that. So yeah, that she was a major part of them being one of the best teams in the league for a few years.
One more for you. Another player getting a bobblehead next week. Slim's got her own bobblehead. Have you seen this? What are your thoughts on the bobblehead?
I actually haven't seen it up close. I saw her looking at it, but I have not seen it up close with my own eyes.
What is it? how cool is that to have you know, when an active player gets
It's cool. I actually don't know if she's had one before. I don't know if
she said she has
no, never. Okay. I mean, no, it's cool. I mean, I'm sure it's fun for her. I'm sure her family's loving it. I remember when I was younger, just, you know, bobblehead collector, and you know, I think probably some of our players were too, or had different ones, and it's cool. It means you got a little status. You got a bobblehead. Fans are going home with it. It's a big deal.
Got all your stats on the box.
Got stats on the box. It's a new phenomenon.
Just what does today mean to you to be brought back and honored by this organization?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it means a lot. The one question that I get from family and friends is if I'm excited. And I think if you know me, you know that I don't get excited about much, but this is a true honor, considering that I'm joining, you know, the greats, Vicky Bullitt, Shamika Holtzclaw, Muriel Page, who I consider someone who was my mentor and a super vet who really taught me what it meant to be a leader, and then the late Nikki Dupre. So to join sort of the ranks of these phenomenal women who literally set the foundation for someone like me to literally come in and just play the game that I love, it's a special moment. So it feels good to be back. It feels good to see familiar faces. But yeah.
It's funny you use the word foundation because Eric was just in here kind of speaking about you in those terms, and I'm curious, you know, what's it like for you to kind of be part of that group that kind of laid the path for, you know, where this league and where this organization is now?
I mean, it means a lot, right? And I don't take it lightly. But the fact that how do I say this? I didn't play the game to get recognized. I didn't play the game to be celebrated. I played the game simply because I loved it, and I wanted to be one of the best to ever play it. And so what this really means is that it's I guess an attribute to me showing up every single day consistent in who I am and what I did on the court. And beyond sort of the accolades or the awards, that means pretty much everything to me, right? Because that's something that I hung my hat on. I wanted to show up for my teammates every single day, and I expected them to do the same. And that's the same way I approach anything that I do in life.
Thank you.
Hi, Jen Hadfield with the Next. Let's go back to draft night. You know, getting picked number 2 overall. What was draft night for you back in the day, and what did it feel like? You know, getting to go to the Mystics.
Yeah, it was high anxiety. I remember that. And I was ready to just step on the court, right? I wanted to bypass all of the performative, you know, things that came along with, you know, being drafted. My focus was on sort of DC. After I heard my name called, after I knew that I was coming to DC, my mind quickly transitioned to figuring out how I could be the best that I could be with this organization. I knew at the time coming out of college it would be number 1, it would be number 2. I can go down the list and name pretty much every single draft pick in that draft because I believe that was the best draft class to ever come through the WNBA. And so when I found out I was coming to DC, I was pretty ecstatic about it because it kept me closer to my family, and that they're from Louisiana. They would drive a good 14 to 16 hours each time to come to Duke. And in my mind, it was only another 4 hours. So that made me pretty happy as well.
And then, you know, your rookie year, you weren't really a typical rookie, you know, got MVP votes, got Defensive Player of the Year votes. What was your adjustment, if any, like to the program?
Well, you have a good memory. Goodness gracious, I guess that's what you're supposed to do, huh? The adjustment was tough. And it would be, you know, a lie to say that it wasn't, because I stepped into the league at the time where I was playing against the best, right? It's a transition from a physicality standpoint, a mindset standpoint, a routine approach standpoint. All of that was really, really tough. And on top of that, I put probably a ton of pressure on myself to be great right out the bat, right out the gates. And so it was fun. I knew I was doing something that I loved, but at the end of the day, it was still very challenging. But I wouldn't change anything because I enjoyed every single moment.
How did you see the franchise kind of evolve, you know, while you were a Mystic?
Yeah, goodness. I think when I came in, it's funny because I was a kid, right? I was a young woman, I was a kid. the only thing that mattered to me was basketball. I didn't necessarily think about the evolution of the organization or what was going on the business side. It was about who was on the floor with me and what we wanted to do in that moment. But when I think back on it, right, I came in under the tenure of Abe Poland, and just sort of knowing what he meant to the city, looking back on it, pretty honored to have, been a part of his legacy. But then, Sheila Johnson stepped in. She's someone that I had always admired, and still do admire. To have her come in as a Black woman, to take part in ownership of the Washington Mystics and Monumental now as a whole, was something special to be a part of. And so to see that evolution sort of off the court, looking back on it, was a lot of fun to see, and it still is a lot of fun to see. On the court, like I said, nothing else mattered. It was about basketball.
Just one more for you, and then I'll be quiet. But you personally, how did you feel like you grew and evolved as a player, not only here but throughout your career, extending into LA as well?
Yeah, no, goodness gracious, in 2010, and I say this often, it's noted, but I had a potential career-ending injury where the doctors literally said I had a 10% chance of returning to an elite level. It took me about 1.5 to 2 years to get back to that elite level. At the time, I was with the Washington Mystics. 2012 came around, free agency, things happened, things changed, decided to go to LA during that period. But what happened is that I reinvented myself. I came back completely different. I couldn't jump with the best. I couldn't run with the best. I couldn't score with the best because my body was just different. My mindset was different because of what I had just gone through. And so I would say it was the first time that I just truly had to reinvent who I was. And I don't regret it at all. It was probably the best moment in my life. It was the best moment in my career because it forced me to understand who I was at that time outside of the game when my identity was wrapped into the game. So I wouldn't change it by any means. Probably one of the most impactful moments of my life.
Odyssey Sims.
All of our Mystics fans who had the chance for many years to watch Alana play, all of her former teammates and friends and family that are here with us today. On behalf of the Mystics, I've been looking forward to this evening all season for a lot of reasons, but you all know that Alana is one of the greatest players in women's basketball history, not just this history, but women's basketball history. You saw on the screen all of the stats and all of those things, so I'm not going to talk about those. I'm going to keep this brief. But I know when I was coaching in Connecticut and she became a free agent, she was the first call I made. I didn't do a very good job apparently because she went to LA instead, but that was a really important thing for me. She's still the all-time Mystics leading scorer in points and steals. Those who played against her know she was a nightmare to play against defensively. If we had somebody that she was guarding, they just wanted to give the ball to a teammate and then she'd run over and guard that person too. So I've always respected her game. But more than that, I want to talk just for a second about the Alana Beard I know off the court and away from the game. She's a special person, and what she's given to her teammates as a role model to young girls with her 318 foundation that she has in Louisiana. The Alana Beard I know, who's grown up beyond the basketball court, is a businesswoman, and she's a giver back to her community. Her foundation supports young girls. They're trying to bridge the opportunity gap and provide mentorship, and that's another reason to me she's a Hall of Famer. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you Alana Beard.
hear it one more time for Mike Thibault. And now, here to accept her induction into our Hall of Fame and cement her legacy with the Mystics forevermore, Alana Beard.
Thank you for that introduction. It always feels good when I step back into the Washington Mystics arena. This was the first place that I called my second home. The moment I was drafted out of Duke, and the moment I stepped into sort of DC, I felt like this was my home. The way that the fans embraced me, the way that my friends embraced me, the way that my family felt embraced when they came into town. It meant everything to me. A lot of people ask me, leading up until this point, are you excited? What gets you excited? If you know me, you know I don't get excited about much. But what excites me is that I get to share this moment with all of these individuals standing up here. On top of that, I am coming in on the backs of a Vicky Bullock, a Muriel Cage, a Shamika Holdsclaw, and the late Vicky McCray. They laid the foundation for why I'm standing here today, and I cannot be more grateful for what you all have done, so thank you. To my good friends, we have our group chat, Monique Curry, Marissa Coleman, Crystal Langhorn, Nakia Sanford. Those were the people that were the closest to me and helped me get through some of the toughest moments. But last but not least, my family. My family has been there with me through thick and thin. They've seen the ups and downs. They've seen the moments where I was at my lowest and the moments where I was at my highs, and they supported me through that. And I know that I wouldn't be standing up here without them. So thank you for everything you all have done for me. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for accepting me for who I am, how I move, and how I live. And then last but not least, it's the fans that I was excited to come back and just have engagements with, right? Being able to have one-on-one conversations with all of you, to learn a little bit more about you. We've all gone through this journey. It's been a good 15 to 20 years now. And so to come back and have these conversations with you means everything to me. So thank you, Mike Thibault. Thank you, Sheila Johnson. You know, you got a special place in my heart forever. Thank you.
Is that the Slim you're used to? Or been waiting for?
Yeah, she was good. Thought she played, especially in the second half, I thought she played poised and made good decisions with the ball. You saw the burst go to the rim a couple times, but I thought she made good reads against their coverage. When to hit the roll, when to shoot the pull up against the big hanging back, was patient against the switches. But we fed off her energy, and I thought, not just her, but that group that was in together early in the fourth. I don't know exactly the time that got us that lead and made that run. I think everybody fed off of that. It wasn't our normal closing lineup. Jade, Emily, Tira was about exhausted, but making hustle plays and running the floor, and so they kind of gave us that boost when we really needed it.
That's what I was going to say. What worked so well during that stretch, because you're down by one going into the fourth. I think you go on a 14-3 run, and that's essentially, and hold on the rest of the way.
I thought we defended. I thought our second half defense was really good. Maybe till the last minute of the game, we made a couple of mistakes, but I thought we dug in. Our offense wasn't pretty. Kurt's always going to have a good defensive game plan since forever, and when that's kind of, you're getting a little sticky at both ends, trying to generate some stuff off your defense and your energy is a great way to get your offense going. So I thought we were able to capitalize on some of their turnovers, and we just kind of played through the ugliness of it. People, again, like the other night, diving on the floor left and right. The crowd loves it, our bench loved it, and that kind of gave us that separation that we needed.
And how's Kara feeling? Obviously fought through a sickness and still put up a double.
She wasn't mad when I took her out tonight. She needed her rest when she got it. No, she was good. Had a tough time getting going offensively, but rebounded the hell out of the ball, made some great defensive plays, and then just was able to get a couple layups to go. No, she's good. I mean, she dug in and gave us what she had tonight.
Thank you.
You started Julie and Slim together this time. Was that just based on the turnovers that you were trying to reduce this time, or what was the goal there, and how did you like it?
I wish it was that simple to reduce the turnovers. No, I mean, I have a lot of point guards all of a sudden, and not a whole lot of wings. So I think, you know, getting Slim off the ball a little bit, you know, giving teams a different look at where she is on the floor, having her and Ariel on each wing is tough to guard. But Julie did a good job, you know, on the ball, but also when she's off the ball, she's a shooting threat. So it's easier to sub. I think Shatori has all year done a really good job leading and kind of anchoring that bench group. So, you know, I just thought it balanced our rotation better.
And then, you know, you talked about how effective Slim was, but you've got, you know, Kira with the double-double, Ariel, you know, kind of all-around contributions. How important was it to kind of have such efficient nights from kind of your big three there?
Yeah, it was big. I thought they all made timely shots, timely plays. You know, I think it's maybe a little reflection of everybody having a better feel of kind of where the ball needs to go and when. We didn't shoot the ball great, but we were able to make enough plays, and you know, we put it in those guys' hands a lot to make decisions. I thought we made pretty good decisions, and you know, that's how we have to play.
Slim, did you feel like yourself? I know you've been kind of waiting to get back. Did you feel like you're back today?
Yeah, I mean, if I like look back at the first game we played on the 15th, each game has been kind of a piece of the puzzle, how I like to say it. And I'm just always going to keep giving credit to my teammates or the coaching staff, the trainers, like everybody poured into me to be able to stay afloat. Days where I didn't have it, my teammates did. They kept my head up. So I think that ultimately led to tonight's performance. And yeah, I did feel like myself. But honestly, the whole week has been going late into this type of game. So again, just credit to my teammates, credit to the org, credit to the staff. Like it's because of them that I'm able to go out there and figure that shit out in real time.
Ariel, how nice is it to have her back playing like herself?
I mean, I love it. It feels really good to me. Just to have someone as dynamic as Slim back on the court. I mean, I talked about it kind of in the past, like the things that we were missing on our team before we got into the break. Those were literal stats of Carly, Slim, and Kira. Is literally their game, you know. So to have her back, but more than anything, to kind of have her back in her right mind and comfortable and excited to play the game again. Life is better when your body feels good, you know. So I'm really happy for her. I know she's dealt with injuries her entire career, so to be able to kind of see the other side of this as a pro I know it feels good for her, so that makes me really happy.
Just one more for me. Either you or both, you know, you guys are out here scrapping every day, and it doesn't always come out with the W. Just how nice and what's it feel like to kind of get back into that category?
I mean, that's the beautiful part about our league and beautiful part about defending home court and having home court advantage, just being able to go out and perform every night and just push through highs and lows. I just love this team. Like, we stay together, we figure it out, and it makes our job enjoyable, even when shit looks really ugly. And it's gotten pretty ugly throughout this season, but this team still managed to find the silver lining in the losses. So kudos to us for sticking through it.
Thank you.
Slim, you were saying you felt maybe a little responsibility to play well. We're in the number 20 tonight, and you weren't kidding, man. How does it feel to have that performance on a night where you really wanted to kind of show out?
It feels really good. I made the joke like last year I had 15, and like this year I have 20. So I did take it as a responsibility. I didn't let it overwhelm me, but in the back of my head, it's like, come on, son. You're wearing the number that's literally being like the person's being retired. So and I really respect AB. She's one of the biggest reasons why I want to go for D-point and bring it back to the North. So it was really cool to be able to perform with my team in front of her and to get the win in front of the home crowd.
For both of you, you know, Eric was talking about how you guys have had conversations over the past couple of days, I guess, about Alana being honored tonight, and she came to the locker room afterward. Can you kind of share some of those conversations, how the team was kind of talking about or approaching this?
I mean, Alana Beard in her own right, you speaking to two people that love to play defense. And just what she's done, not only in this league, I mean, but if you look at what she's doing now with the finance world and what she's doing for her community, she's just a legend in her own right. So to even just have her presence here is insane. But I love her because she's such a calm demeanor, but she goes about business on her court, and I really kind of look up to her for that because I think it has a lot to do with the way that I play as well. So to have her not only come into our locker room and speak to us, but to have her part of this organization and to come back and enjoy it and to see her get her flowers today that's pretty cool.
And just last one for me, you know, the defensive effort tonight, you know, holding LA to 37% shooting.
That was crazy. Don't even watch it.
I mean, she been getting buckets for them.
I know, but that was crazy. Yeah, that was hot. I'm sorry, Jake.
No, all good. Just curious, you know, what you guys thought of your own, you know, defensive effort out there as a team, you know, particularly with their size. Ariel, it looked like you were giving up a lot of inches every time I looked over.
Yeah, it's kind of the theme these days. These players getting bigger and bigger. I don't know. I think it was the third quarter or early fourth. We had a group that went in there and was, I mean, at least maybe 6 to 7 stops in a row. And that's what we talk about in practice, making sure that we can string things along so that we can go up and we can get better and do things from that. So I'm really proud of the way that we were able to lock in and kind of give ourselves that cushion to not only get up, but to lock into the scout and do the things that we wanted to do to make their lives as hard as possible. Honestly, I really credit that win to, I don't know what group that was, but I don't know if it was late third quarter, early fourth, but they really went in and put the clamps down.
Early fourth.
Early fourth, thank you.
Brittney, I know we talked about Alana Beard last year.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start to follow her game? When did you start admiring her? Was it high school, college, or when you got to the pros?
When she terrorized me. Yeah. I mean, obviously I knew about Alana Beard, but when I really started to pay attention to her was my rookie year. She plucked me so bad on the left wing in LA, and I'm just that's not a foul. And then I come to find out that she had decoy back-to-back. So I'm of course that's not a foul. She knows how to play defense. And that just made me hone in on her even more. And then I started to watch her and just see her craft and just realize, man, you could be a two-way player. I feel like later on in her career, she was more of a defensive juggernaut. But early in her years, a lot of people seem to forget, Alana was a bucket. Still is a bucket, you know? But she definitely helped me realize, you could do both. You don't have to be top tied on one side. You could do both. So I really am thankful for a guard like her, a human like her, period.